Good morning. This is my third video of the six that I am to make, and the subject of the six is on the screen. Now in this video I'll discuss how after Operation Sindoor, China has replaced America as the dominant power in South Asia with serious strategic implications for India because India is the biggest nation in South Asia. Now everybody is aware that with the rise of China, the global geopolitics under the Obama administration shifted to from transatlantic to the Asia Pacific region after President Obama ordered the pivot to Asia. But it was in the first Trump administration in 2017, that is the time when the Modi government was in power in India, that America declared that it was in a century-long strategic competition with China. Now, these two great powers, China and America, they have an entirely different model of their rise. As far as the Americans are concerned, their model is a model of Cold War, which is about dominance, which is building on their strength of military power. The one that believes in balance of power politics, and hence believes in a zero-sum game. That means if I have to win, then you have to lose. And it is a hierarchical structure where America is the leader and 20% of the world population, which is the global North nations, they are the followers. India found this model very attractive, the Modi government, because Indians with a colonial mindset, they could identify very closely with this model. Now on the other end was an entirely new model which was brought in by China, built on its strength, which is economic power. So their model was about development and prosperity, about equality, about indivisible security. And in any case, China had a reputation of being the #1 manufacturing nation in the world and the best nation for infrastructure building. So therefore, when the Chinese proposed the Belt and Road Initiative for prosperity, out of 193 countries in the world, 146 countries came on board the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, as far as the Indians were concerned, everything went on fine until the Biden administration, which doubled down on the first Trump administration. And the focus of the Americans until the Biden administration was on a security competition with China, both in Western Pacific and the Indian Ocean region. The idea was that here the Chinese vulnerability was there. And the vulnerability was that the Chinese 3 trillion worth of trade every year, which included their food and their oil, that passed through the Indian Ocean region and the Western Pacific. Therefore, the Americans wanted India to be the military bulwark in the Indian Ocean region, which India considered to be its backyard against China. And the Indians were delighted for this role. So basically, till the end of the Biden administration, not only the Americans were supporting India in the Indian Ocean region, they also were supporting in South Asia. They were supporting India. This was the situation until the second Trump administration, when everything changed. There was an entirely new foreign policy. As far as Trump is concerned, relevant to my discussion, he had two priorities. One was trade, and the second priority is to focus on building American military power, because the thinking now was that relative to the PLA, the US military power had come down relatively, it has diminished. That had to be built. So that security competition, which was the key focus of the Biden administration, is no longer there with the Trump administration. And this is a worrying thing for the Indians, because India wants to be seen in a regional security competition with China, and if it doesn't have the American back, then there is trouble. As far as the Trump administration is concerned, it has not shown much interest in Quad, which is the reason that the two Quad members, Japan and Australia, are striking their own trade deals today with China. It has not shown much interest in interfering in South Asia. In fact, President Trump has been quite open in saying to India that you sort out your things in South Asia, and it has not shown much interest in India being the military bulwark in Indian Ocean region. So this is where India's foreign policy stands today. Now, as far as the Chinese are concerned, Chinese, when they looked at this entire region, Asia Pacific, and according to their strength, the economic strength, what they did was, at one extreme they had ASEAN, so they built very good trade relations with ASEAN. At the other end were the 54 nations of the African continent, where in any case they have been involved for the last 3 decades in development and infrastructure building. So excellent ties Chinese have with the African continent also. The only problem was South Asia, and in South Asia, India. So the Chinese were trying very hard to normalize relations with India in South Asia, which of course did not work for various reasons. I don't want to go in the details here. Now what happened was, this is the time that Prime Minister Modi did Operation Sindoor. Now, of the 4 days of Operation Sindoor, which is from the 6th to the 10th, let it be very clear, and the world knows it, that the most important was the night of 6th, 7th, the air battle and its outcome, because that is the future of war. And while the Pakistani side gave a good briefing, elaborate briefing about what happened in the air battle that night, the Indian side has not spoken about it, but the fact remains that the entire world knows about it. This is no secret at all, and so much has been written about the air battle on the 6th, 7th night. What was the outcome of that? And obviously the Chinese knew, and the Trump administration also knew every detail of what happened on the night of 6th, 7th. Now, both sides, India and Pakistan, were not keen to escalate things any further, and they both were wanting to have an end to the hostility. And that is where President Trump said that he had offered a ceasefire with a trade deal to both India and Pakistan. Now, India denied, of course, all that, but we know now that the US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutkin, he is on record, said to the US Court of International Trade that it was only after America offered the trade deal or trade access to India and Pakistan that they agreed to end hostility. Though of course, as I said, that they were keen in any case to end it. So the point to make here is, trade is the key thing as far as President Trump is concerned, and India in any case is committed to Mission 500, which basically means that the present bilateral trade between India and America is close to $200 billion annually, will be taken over the next 5 years to $500 billion annually. Now, it is very obvious that the Americans are aware of the big shortcoming or the big problem which was there in the air-land battle, and they are also aware that the Chinese are giving now the 5th generation aircraft to the Pakistan Air Force. So I have no doubts that the Trump administration, and especially President Trump, will be putting a lot of pressure on India to buy the F-35s and of course other military equipment from America. Now, this whole thing which is going on about hyphenation with Pakistan, you see, the hyphenation is only in the area of military capabilities, something that I have been arguing for decades, that as far as military competition is concerned, India and Pakistan, they are peer competitors. I have been saying it for a long time. Now, as far as China is concerned, China is very happy with the outcome of what happened in the air battle, and it is very happy to give top of the line equipment to Pakistan. And Chinese now have come up very openly in support of Pakistan. So after consultation with China, the Pakistan leadership, certainly not from a position of weakness, has offered 2 times peace talk to India on 3 subjects bilaterally. The subjects are trade, water and Kashmir, something that the Indian government will never agree. And since Prime Minister Modi ordered the pause to Operation Sindoor, this also has worked to Pakistan's favor, in their favor in 2 ways. One, this pause has given Pakistan time to build its military and technology capabilities openly with support from China, where China will give it state-of-the-art equipment and in double time. And second, this pause has given the Pakistan leadership time to establish the credibility of its geography for geopolitics, which is why the Pakistan leadership is doubling down in its engagement with Afghanistan, UAE, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and most importantly, Russia. So, to any neutral observer, things look like this, that in military terms, Pakistan has emerged as a peer competitor of India, that Pakistan is a military power, that Pakistan has credible geography for geopolitics, and most of all, Pakistan has the backing of China, and this matters considering that the Trump administration has shown no interest in being in South Asia. So, in my opinion, China will now dominate South Asia because it wants to position Pakistan as a strategic alternate to India in South Asia. And this will also see the revival of SAARC. Please recall in 2014 at the SAARC summit in Nepal, 3 member countries of SAARC, Pakistan, Nepal and Sri Lanka, they had proposed that China, which had an observer status, be made a full member, and India was not agreeable to that. And therefore in 2016, when the Uri attacks happened, India found good reason to not attend the Islamabad SAARC summit, and that was the end of SAARC as far as India was concerned. So here will be an opportunity to revive SAARC. Now, in any case, when you see South Asia, all the small neighbors except for India and Bhutan, everybody is already on board the Belt and Road Initiative, and India has just sent a all-party delegation to various countries, but it has not bothered to send a delegation to the South Asian nations, to the smaller nations in neighborhood, giving a clear signal that it doesn't care about its neighborhood. So what we are looking at is that all these smaller nations with support of China will be able to engage with each other intensely, and given China's deep pockets and infrastructure building capabilities, perhaps whether India likes or not, despite India, SAARC and the region may prosper. So this, in my opinion, is how China is set to dominate South Asia. Thank you.